the 6th round of the Wesbank Modified Saloon Car Championship at one of South Africa's trickiest little circuits, the Zwartkops Raceway near Pretoria. And in classes C and D in the first heat of that race, the man to watch out for here, Serge Damso in his Works Toyota Conquest, who's made the series come alive. A lot of pressure expected to be put on him here as the cars get underway. From the car on the right-hand side of your picture, and that's Dave Repsold, also in a Toyota Conquest. As they go down into the first of the corners, Continental corner, a double apex corner, it's Serge Damso through into the lead.
Yes, already Dave Repsold started a little bit behind Serge Damso, thought he could get the jump on Serge, didn't manage it, and now he's going to pay the price. This is a very narrow circuit, difficult to overtake on, and there's great rivalry between these two, Repsold and Damso, as Damso's car is a fully factory repaired car and Dave prepares his own car. However, he's now behind Serge as they come through and go up towards the Bosel Bend for the first time.
Behind them, the BMW 323 of Richie Juta, one of the most experienced men around in motor racing. He's been there an awful long time and making a welcome return to the racetracks.
Indeed, yes. Now we have Keith Carr in third place at the present moment, George Bezuidenhout in the Sentra in fourth place, and then Richie Jute in fifth place. As you can see, Dave trying everything, but he can't go over the top of Serge. He's going to have to go around him and try and set himself up and try and get the slipstream as they come down the Ultimoil straight now and into the champion corner. If he can get alongside Serge there, he'll be able to overtake him. But it's not easy. That's the yellow car there, Steve Corner, and these are the Class D cars. Steve Wyndham leading in car number 77, followed by Richard Sorensen.
Still Serge Damso as they go up into the Bosel corner at the exit from the drive-in section. Dave Repsold right behind him there and really piling on the pressure. Down now into the Sabat sweep and along the Michelin straight past the pits and down towards Conti again. Behind them it's Keith Carr in the Golf GTI.
Yes, and then followed by George Bezuidenhout and then Richie Jute. In fact, this dice up front is just a replay of Port Elizabeth a few weeks ago, where Dave led for, I think, 13 of the 14 laps and then blew on the last lap, Serge taking him, and then he didn't manage to get to the second heat. And Serge had a tremendous dice with Richie Jute, in fact, in the second heat. They're really passing the Class D cars. That's how much quicker these Class C cars are. And Richie Jute now passing George Bezuidenhout for fourth place. Remember, ahead of them is Keith Carr and then the two Toyotas.
That little red BMW 323 ahead of the Nissan Sentra as they go up into the Bosel corner at the top of the drive-in section. Over the hill now and down past the pits. And Serge Damso in amongst the Class D cars there, getting through as they go into Conti. Dave Repsold trying to find a way through there, but getting tied up behind Steve Collety's Nissan Sentra as they go into Conti.
Yes, and there's nothing that he can do about that, unfortunately. Stephen couldn't have got out of the way. Once you're in this type of a corner which is so tight, it's that difficult to overtake. And still these two, Richie Jute and George Bezuidenhout, having a tremendous dice. In fact, that was almost the dice of the day once you got after the first and second place.
Down the long straight at the back of the Zwartkops Raceway here and down towards the drive-in, up again into the champion sweep and into Bosel corner, and Richie Jute and George Bezuidenhout having a real ding-dong battle as they go through this tight corner at the top of the drive-in section here.
Yes, and now getting mixed up with the Class D cars, which of course always is dangerous because the first person is not necessarily seen and then the second person can get through easier, or you can be held up. I guess it works 50-50. Sometimes it's better to be in the front and sometimes it slows you down.
So the BMW leading the Nissan Sentra through Continental corner. And problems for Dave Repsold, the hand coming out of the car. He went through Continental corner, clipped the curb and bent his rear hub. So that car now beginning to handle badly and falling back through the field, allowing Serge Damso in the Works Conquest to get away.
Yes, and that's all that Serge needs for the last lap. He's now a long way ahead. The Class D cars have already passed Dave Repsold, who comes slowly through Champion Hill, checking the car to see what's wrong with it, moving it now, you can see left to right to see where there's any problems or not.
And so Serge Damso rolls down to take the checkered flag in the first heat of this 6th round. He's followed home by Keith Carr in the Golf GTI, then Richie Juta here and George Bezuidenhout. In Class D, it was first across the line Steve Wyndham from Cape Town in his Toyota Conquest, followed by Steve Corner and Ray Wilford, both of them in VW Golfs. Great drive from Serge Damso here, greatly appreciated by a big crowd at Zwartkops. And so on to the first heat of the big boys, the Class A and B cars. Cyril van der Merwe here in his Sasol Turbo Ford Sapphire, up against the other names, Terry Moss in the Audi Motorsport Rothmans Audi Turbo, and Chris Aberdeen in the Bosel Audi Turbo, and a late entry, Willie Hepburn here in his Sabat Opel Record. The big boys anxious to put on a great show for the crowd here, and they were going to get plenty of support from the crowd indeed. Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi leading the field off as they move up to the rolling start for Heat 1, Classes A and B.
A pity Ben Morgan, whose Mazda was withdrawn as the cars come to the start line. Terry Moss, the left-hand side of your picture, immediately going into lead. Aberdeen dropping back, and van der Merwe coming through on the inside, slipping through ahead of Aberdeen, which he could pay dearly for as the race goes on.
Inside the Bosel Audi Turbo with Chris Aberdeen, Sal van der Merwe in front there, and Terry Moss getting away as Chris Aberdeen charges through into second place.
Is van der Merwe making a mistake there, missing a gear as he goes down the straight now with Willie Hepburn immediately behind him. Aberdeen in second place, Terry Moss out in the lead.
And the Porsche in there, the Gary Dunkley car as well, but here is Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi up the hill into the Bosel corner. He's followed through by Chris Aberdeen, riding in car now with Terry Moss. Plenty of concentration there as they come down into the Michelin Straight again. It's Moss, it's Aberdeen, and then it is Cyril van der Merwe, followed by Willie Hepburn.
So while Willie Hepburn's tyres are new, he's very close to van der Merwe.
Inside the car again with Chris Aberdeen as they go into Continental Corner. The crowd's really appreciating a great fight here, and Terry Moss, a problem for him, electrical problems, the car stalling there but getting going again, and now Moss back down into third place, so great battle here for the rest of this race.
In fact, he has to come past, first of all he has to pass Willie Hepburn, then Cyril van der Merwe, and then Chris Aberdeen. He's got a lot to do. Willie Hepburn will be the easiest man to pass because he's the slowest of the four, but of course Willie's car is one of the widest on the tracks, and with this circuit being narrow, it'll take him a couple of laps to get past, and he's still got to catch van der Merwe and pass him before he can get to Aberdeen.
So it's Aberdeen, van der Merwe, Willie Hepburn, Terry Moss as they go into Continental Corner, and Terry Moss in that big blue and white Rothmans Audi chasing hard to get past Willie Hepburn's red and white Opel, and they do it as they come out onto the Altamore Straight at the back of the circuit and go down towards the drive-in section. Moss on the inside and up the hill, the Champion Hill now towards a Bosel Corner. Chris Aberdeen in the lead.
Going up into Bosel Bend, van der Merwe in second place, Moss having now passed Hepburn in a move which I find very interesting because the Audi is usually a slower car than the Opel, and in fact the Audi in this case was, if anything, quicker and then able to outbrake him going into the champion sweep.
Down in Class B, Tony Viana in the BMW 535i leads, but a great battle behind him. His teammate Dion Joubert from Cape Town fighting off a charge by the Porsche 911 driven by Gary Dunkley as they go into the back section, and Gary Dunkley in that Porsche 911 gets through the Sabat car, going through as they go down into the drive-in section of the car of the circuit, and up the hill now towards Bosel Corner. It's Dunkley in second place in Class B. We're in car now with Dion Joubert in the BMW dealer team 535i as they go down towards the Sabat sweep.
Just watching, and there's a puff of smoke coming out from Dunkley's car. He's blown his clutch, and unfortunately that is the end of Gary's race, allowing Dion Joubert back into second place behind his teammate Tony Viana, who is a long way ahead, as you can see here in the shot. In third place now is the Johan Coetzee car, with Aberdeen in the Class A car, leading in the Class A, now lapping the Class B cars. It's van der Merwe, followed still by Terry Moss, who has now caught van der Merwe.
And it's still Chris Aberdeen out in first place in Class A, getting mixed up in the slower Class B traffic there, as you can call the Class B traffic slow. Behind him, Cyril van der Merwe. A lot of straight line speed here for the Sasol Turbo Ford Sapphire, but the handling through the corners obviously a lot more sure-footed from the four-wheel drive Audi turbos.
Yes, you can see how much faster the Ford is than Terry's car at this point. And it's not so much through the corners, it's coming out of the corners that you'll see how much quicker the four-wheel drive cars come out. The Ford has got a lot of power with the turbo, and it kicks the back of the car out, which makes the driving of the car very difficult, and then also wears out the back tyres as the back tyres overheat. And you'll see Van der Merwe sort of getting slower as the event goes on because he's not able to get out of the corners. Going through the corners is not that bad, but coming out, you'll see how much Terry now makes up on Cyril coming out.
So it's into the closing stages of the race. Aberdeen in the lead, but still a terrific battle for the fans here between third place man Terry Moss here in the Rothmans Audi and the man in second place, Cyril van der Merwe, in the Sasol Ford Sapphire. Aberdeen goes through to start his second last lap, and then a terrific move from Terry Moss here in the Rothmans Audi as they come out of Bosel corner. A little bit of a twitch from Van der Merwe, and Moss is through into second place.
Yes, a mistake from Van der Merwe then. He missed a gear, and that was all that Terry needed. Terry has now passed him, and he will no doubt pull away from the Ford.
Through Continental Corner for the last time. The crowd on their feet, still plenty of action here, whether you're a Ford fan or an Audi fan. It's the Audi in second place now, with Terry Moss being chased hard by Cyril van der Merwe in third place. But out in the lead, and nobody looking like catching him right at the moment, is Chris Aberdeen here in the Bosel Audi Turbo as they come up through Bosel Corner for the last time. Aberdeen, Moss and van der Merwe. Aberdeen cruising through the Sabat sweep now, down to the line to take the checkered flag. He's followed home by Audi teammate Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi, and followed by Cyril van der Merwe. Class B, Tony Viana and Dion Joubert and the two BMW dealer team 535i's, followed home by Johan Kotsier in the Gearmax Skyline in third place.
Well, that was good fun.
Fun it was, but not without its problems for Terry Moss.
The undertray came adrift on the first lap, but the major problem I had, my car actually cut out, and I think probably a small electrical fault. I flicked the switches and it got going again, and I had a nice chase, which I think everyone wanted to see.
Yeah, it was very good. That flapping undertray, did it affect your handling at all?
I don't think it really affected handling that much, but it affected my mind because it kept going through my mind. What happens if it's brakes? What happens if it's something that's going to come adrift? So I had to settle, and then I decided, well, I'll go for broke.
I didn't get the greatest of starts. Cyril got past me at the start, but I almost expected that because on the outside on this circuit it's very difficult at the start. But then I managed to pass him shortly after that. He was a bit slow coming out of the hairpin, so I got past him. And then I was on to Terry, and he obviously had a problem. He slowed down a little, so I passed him. And then it was easy going from then. I could control the race from the front. I enjoy winning like that.
The second heat of the day for the Wesbank modified saloons in classes C and D, and Serge Damso and Keith Carr on the front row of the grid leading the field out. Don Brains and the Opel Cadet getting a little bit of assistance from his mechanics and supporters as the cars move out onto the circuit. A rolling start for the cars here, the clutch and setup of these cars not allowing them to have a standing start. So rolling start as they move up the hill, led by the pace car, round past the packed grandstands here at Zwartkops on a beautiful day for racing. The pace car coming down now, pulling off, and Serge Damso and Keith Carr getting the field bunched up as they go down to the line, and the race is on.
And looking at Dave Repsol in fifth place for him to come through and try and catch Serge Damso. But obviously at the moment it's Damso in the lead, Keith Carr in second place, George Zadenhout third, and Richard Duty in fourth place, with Repsol having had a bit of a bad start, dropped to place, and then now back up into, in fact he's not, he's even further down, he's maybe in seventh or eighth place at this point.
So down onto the back straight, and it is Serge Damso once again controlling this race from the front. Keith Carr in second place, then we're followed by George Zadenhout in the Nissan Sentra and Richie Duty in the BMW 323. Serge Damso up the hill into Bosel Corner, Carr, then it's Zadenhout, then it's Duty.
Already an excellent race developing in Class D with Steve Wyndham leading from Ray Wolford, Richard Sorensen and Steve Corner.
Down the straight past the pits, and it's still Serge Damso in the Toyota dealer team Conquest, and he's leading Keith Carr in the Golf GTI, and already beginning to make his move up towards the field, and chasing hard after the BMW 323 of Richie Jutta is Dave Repsold in the Automark Racing Toyota Sprinter.
Steve Wyndham leads Class D, but the second batch of drivers, Wilfred, Sorensen and Corner, having a tremendous dice. As we have Johan van Rensburg spinning in the stanza, coming back onto the track, having done some damage to the right-hand front of the motor car.
Rejoining the field right down the tail end, this is Steve Wyndham, the man who's in the lead on the road in Class D at this moment. And behind him, a terrific battle going on between the Class D runners. Serge Damso, meanwhile, storming ahead. Dave Repsold in third place here, with Keith Carr just ahead of him. Then we've got George Bezuidenhout and Richie Jutta in the Nissan Sentra and the BMW, respectively.
Yes, Dave Repsold really coming through the field. He, in fact, set the quickest lap of the race at a 54.52, not a new lap record, but setting up the quickest time. And that's Steve Wyndham, having lost the front of his car, or part of the front of his car, in the first heat. I don't know quite how much damage that has done to the car in terms of its handling, but obviously the aerodynamics changed. But still a long way ahead, with now Sorensen in second place, having overtaken Ray Wilford and Steve Corner in third place.
That's the battle for Class D as they move down into Continental Corner again. Very, very tight racing. This one really providing an awful lot of entertainment for the big crowd here at Zwartkops for the 6th round of the Wesbank Modified Championship. But still out in the lead, controlling the race, is Serge Damso in the Toyota dealer team Conquest, and this man charging through the field now and up into second place, Dave Repsold in the Automark Racing Sprinter. Damso up through the drive-in section of the course and up towards Bosel Corner.
Damso, I'm sure, not giving it all at this point in time. He's probably got at this stage maybe 6 or 7 seconds ahead of Dave Repsold, and leaving all the trying to Dave. Let Dave possibly make a mistake while he picks his way through the field of back markers, the Class D cars, just protecting his lead, not going to make any mistakes at all.
Very smooth drive on both heats here by Serge Damso, one of the most experienced men on the circuits here, and of course a top rally driver as well. Damso through that pack of Class D cars as they move on to the Ultimoil Straight.
You can see that Serge Damso has no wing on his car. The factory decided not to put a wing on his car, but when you see Dave Repsold's car, you will see a rear wing tucked under, or above the rear boot, but tucked under the roof line of the car. And in Class D, we've still got Sorensen leading Wilford, with Steve Corner inches behind. Wilford trying to overtake Sorensen here. You can't get it much closer than this. Fantastic racing this Class D. Just Steve Wyndham way ahead, but unfortunately he was later found to be underweight, and the results on that, we're not sure. It's still pending a court case with regard to him being underweight.
So Serge Damso in the Class C Toyota Conquest, and Dave Repsold threading his way through that Class D battle now, in amongst the slower cars, but Repsold putting the foot down as they go along the back straight at Zwartkops and down towards the drive-in section. And that's Steve Corner out there, the engine blown. That is terminal for him, out onto the grass, a little bit of oil down on the track. But coming up now to take a first position in this second heat, it is still Serge Damso. He's followed home by Dave Repsold. In third place will be Keith Carr in the Golf GTI, followed by the Nissan Sentra of George Bezuidenhout, and in fifth place it's going to be Richie Jutta in the BMW 323i. So the flag for Serge Damso at the end of the second heat, the oil flag out to warn them that Steve Corner has laid down a little bit of oil. In second place it is Repsold, then Carr, Bezuidenhout and Jutta.
And in Class D, it was Steve Wyndham on the road, but as I say, that is subject. He was excluded afterwards. So it was Richard Sorensen, Ray Wilford, Steve Culotti, and then Neil Dunnicliffe.
And the overall results for Class C, Serge Damso with the Toyota first, then Keith Carr, Richie Jutta, George Bezuidenhout, Dave Repsold, and in Class D it was Richard Sorensen, Ray Wilford and Steve Culotti in the first 3 places overall for the 2 heats of round 6 of the Wesbank Modified Saloon cars. Back now to the big boys, Class A and B again. and the crowd really anticipating another tremendous battle between the Fords and the Audis.
Right, Chris Aberdeen leading the field out onto pole position. Very advantageous on this circuit to have pole position, as you've seen. Terry Moss alongside him on the front of the grid. Sarl van der Merwe third, Willie Hepburn fourth. Guys weaving a little bit to put some heat into the tyres. Very important that the tyres are warm for the start of the race. Aberdeen leading up the hill, quarter of a lap to go before the start of the race. He really wants to win this one again. He won here last year, both heats, and here they come up to the start-finish line. Aberdeen leading, Moss having dropped back a bit, and Aberdeen leading going into the first little right-hand kink as he goes through on the inside, and there comes Terry Moss on the outside. Terry's taking him on the outside, which gives him the inside for the first part of Continental, and for the second part of Continental, Abo tries to do something, can't do anything, and Terry is now ahead. Chris in second place, missing a gear there. And missing a second gear there. That's going to give Van der Merwe the opportunity he's waiting for to pass. And in fact, there he goes. Van der Merwe through on the inside going into Champion Hill. So it drops Aberdeen back into third place. Terry in the lead, Sarl second.
And so Sarl van der Merwe now becomes that piece of meat in the Audi turbo sandwich. But Chris Aberdeen trying to find a way through there as they come out of the Sebat sweep. But look at that Audi of Terry Moss all over the road there, doing everything he knows he can do to keep that first place. It's still in the middle, it's Van der Merwe, then Aberdeen.
He's in the lead at the moment, and now he knows that Aberdeen and Van der Merwe are going to slow each other down, so he's got to use everything he can to get ahead and make that gap bigger. Now you can see there how the Audi got out of the corner quicker, and Abo wanted to try and pass Sarl, but by the end of the straight, the Ford in fact has pulled away a little bit, and there's nothing that Chris can do as they go down into the Champion Hill.
Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi up the hill now through Bosel corner. Sarl van der Merwe in second place. Chris Aberdeen still trying to find a way through, and trouble for Terry Moss there, allowing van der Merwe into the lead, followed by Aberdeen, and a repeat of the electrical problem that he had in the first heat. So it's van der Merwe, it's Aberdeen, and now Terry Moss well back in the field.
Right, well that takes care of one person for Chris. Now he's just got to get past the Ford. Of course, Sarl can now see victory as well, and he's going to drive as hard as he can to keep the Audi behind. The track being a little narrow, it's a very difficult circuit to overtake on.
The crowd's really enjoying this. Here comes Terry Moss. We're in car with him now. That electrical problem overcome, and Terry Moss is putting the foot down, and he's going to have the drive of his life, and it'll be a drive that will have the crowd on their feet throughout the remaining laps of this race. Still Van der Merwe, Aberdeen trying to find a way through as they go up through the drive-in section, through Bosel corner and down towards the Sebat sweep. No ways that Aberdeen can get through at this moment as they come onto the start and finish straight.
There's both drivers trying to do everything to either change their position or stay there, while Terry has it all to do again. He's first of all got to pass Willie Hepburn, then he's got to catch up and catch Van der Merwe and Chris Aberdeen to try and take the lead. A tough order at this point.
And Terry Moss is through back into third place, overtaking the Opel record there of Willie Hepburn. Now into third place and pushing ahead. But this is Van der Merwe in the Sasol Ford Sapphire, followed by Chris Aberdeen in the Bosel Audi, and further down the field in third place it's Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi. Then we got Willie Hepburn as they come down through the start and finish straight again. Moss charging through the field, and it's Hepburn off into the dirt. And that's going to be virtually the end of his race, spinning off there as they came through the Sebat sweep. Willie Hepburn in that very powerful and potent Opel record.
A particularly nice sounding motor car. Lovely to hear the old V8s. While the turbos have got their own sound, an old V8 sounds wonderful. But that unfortunately puts him out of the race effectively with the front three, and allowing Terry to now make up this gap that he has. There's two BMWs, Viana and Dion Joubert,
having a terrific dice amongst themselves in Class B right throughout the race. It was bumper to bumper for those two BMW dealer team 535Is of Viana and Joubert. But at the end of the start and finish straight, it is still out in the lead. The Sasol Ford Sapphire. Right behind him is Chris Aberdeen in the Bosel Audi, and making up a lot of ground now, Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi. Here are the BMWs.
Back in the car again with Aberdeen now, as they coming up to overtake to lap the two BMWs, as in fact Viana pulls in front of Aberdeen, and Aberdeen splits the two BMWs, but doesn't hold him up a great deal as he goes up the hill and turns left into Bosel Bend, not having lost more than a couple of yards on Van der Merwe. But the whole time this is happening, Terry Moss is catching both of them.
Moving up, you can see him right in there with the pack of them moving through and past the Class B BMWs now. Terry Moss in third place. This is from Aberdeen's car as he comes up on the tail of Cyril van der Merwe as they go through Continental Corner.
Right, look how close he is this time as he comes out of the corner, obviously trying to get some sort. And Van der Merwe misses a gear, and Aberdeen misses a gear as well. As Van der Merwe missed the gear, Aberdeen moved over, and that must surely allow, yes it does, Terry Moss to pass him through. So Terry is now into second place, and now he will really be wanting to catch Van der Merwe and win this race.
So it's the Sasol Ford Sapphire in the lead, then the two Audi Turbos, and Moss, a tremendous drive after that electrical problem, put him right down the field, back up into second spot now. Chris Aberdeen in third. What a nasty moment there when Van der Merwe lost that gear. Very, very nearly coming together. But here he is now, coming down towards Continental Corner. Right on his tail now is Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi. Very, very close indeed. Can he get through on these remaining laps? The crowd are on their feet, loving every moment of this battle. Aberdeen in third place, but this is Moss looking for a way round the wily old fox, Cyril van der Merwe in the Ford Sapphire. Up the hill now, through the drive-in section into Bosel Corner. It is Moss right on the tail of that Ford, and he's through as they go down towards the Sebat sweep. It is Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi through into the lead, and you can hear the crowd on their feet at this moment. They love it.
And it's a sheer superiority of the four-wheel drive car over the two-wheel drive car. As I said earlier, Van der Merwe's tyres are now in a bad state, and coming out of that corner, Terry was just able to pass him on the inside as they came out with a four-wheel drive grip. The crowd absolutely enthralled of this, and of course Aberdeen now doing everything he can, and Van der Merwe staying on the inside of the track to make it impossible for Aberdeen to pass, to try and get an Audi 1-2.
Inside the car with Chris Aberdeen, Cyril van der Merwe in the Ford Sapphire ahead, and in the distance this man, the Rothmans Audi, Terry Moss in car, having an incredible drive here as he heads down on his last lap now towards the line coming out of the Sebat sweep, down towards the checkered flag, and a tremendous win from Terry Moss as he puts his hand up to acknowledge the applause of the crowds in the stands here, who really have had some tremendous racing. In second place, Cyril van der Merwe, Chris Aberdeen in the Audi in third place. And listen to those crowds really enjoying the performance of this man who's had to fight back in both heats.
Yeah, we had another cutout in the second heat, and I had to start from the back, so I had to give everything I had, and I guess there was too much aggression there, but I got there and I finished first. I was very happy. I think my guys did a good work.
So the overall winner of the day, Chris Aberdeen, and a new lap record for Zwartkops for him. Terry Moss in the second of the Audis in second place, and Cyril van der Merwe in the Ford Sapphire third. Tony Viana and Dion Jabeur in the BMWs led home Class B ahead of the Nissan Skyline of Johan Kutsia. Some tremendous racing in the 6th round, and everything looking good for the 7th round at Kyalami on the 11th of July.